everyone. Welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting, and an episode of a series that if you've only been here for a short time or even like a couple of years, you may not know even exists. This was other than the look back, the first series I ever did. It was Gotham City Chronicles, and I did it with my buddy Kavi. What is up, sir? Glad to have you back. Glad to be doing this again. How are you?
Hey, does this series really predate the look back video?
The only thing it doesn't predate on my channel is the look back.
The only thing it doesn't predate.
Yes, that is the only thing that does not predate.
Yeah, because I think the look back video was like the first video I ever saw or noticed that you did.
Yeah, well, it was like the second or third. The first one of those was like the second or third video I made. I did a couple of unboxing. Hey, I'm going to have a channel.
Yeah. And I want to say back then you weren't like on Instagram sharing books or anything like that. So that I feel like that was the first place I ever saw you do anything on social media. Was that first look back video?
We interacted a few times in other people's chats, and I had you'd had some videos that I had been in your chat a couple of times.
Okay.
But
okay. Well, I didn't even remember that. But
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I had been in the chat for a few months before I finally made a video, it was so you knew I existed. But yeah, I think probably the first video you saw was probably the look back when I started making videos, because I made two before I made that.
Well, yeah, it has been 3.5 years, I think, since we did.
I didn't even look at the date. I was afraid to.
It was it was like March or April of 2022. I had it was on my channel, and it was Simple Simon finally reading Dark Knight Returns, if I recall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns was the last one that we did.
That was yes, that was episode 29. This is episode 30, so we're even now, 15 episodes each.
We
on our channels. And now YouTube finally allows multiple channels to be the publisher of one video.
Yeah, we could have done that tonight.
We could do that moving forward if we keep reading Batman comics, which I hope we do. Yeah.
So if anybody doesn't know, Kavi had a channel before I did. He hasn't made content for a while, or at least if you have, I've missed it. I don't think I've missed it. I still have a look.
I did 1 or 2 live streams early 2025, but I haven't done much this year. But I technically have existed this year.
Yeah,
with something, but not a lot.
This is true. So you had drifted away from the YouTube a little bit, and then life got in the way, and we had kind of stopped. But one of the things we bonded over was we were both big Batman fans, and we started doing just some of our favorite Batman stories, and we read, we talk about. Usually we get some friends to join us, but since we were bringing this back, we decided tonight it would just be the two of us.
Keep it simple.
Tonight we're talking a little Catwoman, Lonely City, by Cliff Chang, and he is the writer, artist, colorist, letterer, everything on this book. You don't see that hardly ever anymore. Somebody do the whole thing.
Mean, you see writer penciler occasionally, right? Or maybe even writer penciler inker, where it's the writer artist does both parts of the artist part, like Sean Gordon Murphy, right? He's done writer artist where he's doing the penciling, inking, and the writing, right? But he wasn't doing the lettering and he wasn't doing the coloring.
No. So
that's pretty much, purely one person being a one-man band on this, which is pretty a different situation.
Yeah, I mean, he did the covers for all the issues. I think there's one
the main covers. There's a couple of variants.
There's a couple of variants that aren't him, but the A and B cover for all the issues were him. And this was his baby. It's the nice thing about DC Black Label or Elseworlds or whatever is he got the chance to.
So is Elseworlds never used anymore as a label?
I think they're bringing it back, as I believe. So it used to be Elseworlds, and then it was Black Label, and I think my understanding is going forward they're going back to Elseworlds again. But
I know they're bringing Vertigo back for specific Vertigo titles or whatever, but Elseworlds was always something different from either of those two things, really.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Vertigo was just you're not.
But they're still, but aren't they still using Black Label though? Or am I wrong about that?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I thought they were going back to. I thought I'd seen something
because they have this whole like they have the all in, and then they have this other. Well,
they have the absolute, and then they get ready.
Well, the absolute, which was kind of part of all in, and now there's this like new developing line of titles.
Yeah, there's like KO, and they're going to relaunch again coming out of it. I don't know.
How do they make it even more complicated?
It's comics. They gotta relaunch and rebrand, and every 6 months so that they can.
Yeah, but at least that I sort of wrap my head around. It's the brand name thing that they keep changing and like throwing in new lines, bringing back old lines. It's just I haven't been a weekly Wednesday comic guy since this book was coming out, 2022.
22, that's right. It was
so for issue 1 came out November 2021, right?
Okay.
So and then issue 2 came out February 2022. So there was a 3-month gap between issue 1 and 2. Then there was a 4-month gap between issue 2 and 3 because issue 3 came out June 2022.
Okay.
And then there was a 6-month gap between issue 3 and 4, which issue 4 came out December 2022. And like when I first read this book, I seriously lost momentum after issue 2. And when I read issue 3, I barely, because of that 4-month gap, I think I barely had in my head what was there before. Like it was there, but it was barely there. And then there was another 6-month break between 3 and 4. And at that point, it's like I had to have had to read the whole thing again, like from beginning to end. You know what I mean?
That is the drawback of one person trying to do a whole book like this. You're not, unless he has it done before they ever publish the first issue. You're not going to get a monthly. You're not.
And that was exactly what I was going to say. Is like that would have been my preference. Is if this would have been a standalone graphic novel rather than single issue prestige format with unknown release dates and times.
It was their prestige, and then also like the bigger, like they're all bigger format,
oversized magazine size.
The magazine size, all of these issues are so. So your thoughts? My introduction to Cliff Chiang was like I'd seen he'd done some art on some books and stuff that I'd read that were some DC stuff. I didn't really know he was an artist until you pointed me toward Paper Girls. And then obviously when this came out, I was excited having read Paper Girls at that point. But for you, what was your exposure to Cliff Chiang?
My first exposure to Cliff Chiang was on his Wonder Woman run for DC.
Okay.
I had also checked out this like Green Arrow, Black Canary book that he was on.
Okay.
I didn't think that was like incredible or anything like that. But I did think that his Wonder Woman run was a standout from an art standpoint. I off the top of my head, from a story standpoint, I don't remember much, to be honest with you. So it is really though with Paper Girls, where he turned into an artist that was just like on my radar to an artist that I became an actual fan of, an artist creator, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I mean, and that was with Brian K. Vaughan writing, obviously, and so and for me, within the whole BKV verse, of which you and I have read a lot of that stuff and talked about it on your channel. Paper Girls, Saga. What else have we done? Did we do Why the Last Man?
We never did Why the Last Man. I never got around to that, but we did Paper Girls and Saga. So
right. So of which is probably at near, if not at the top of the BKV list for me, of my personal favorites of his stuff. I like it more than Saga personally.
Me too.
And I like it more than even some of the other stuff that I've read, obviously by BKV, including Why the Last Man and his Runaways run and other stuff that he's done. So I think not that I want to talk about Paper Girls too much, but that's where I first noticed how much I liked his art style. He wasn't coloring himself on that book. The coloring is especially great in that book, though.
Yeah.
And it almost, to me, it's like, man, he must have picked up a lot from that colorist, because I think he
This is a
it's
very
almost
similar.
like it's almost like it was that colorist on this.
Yeah,
book.
it's a very similar palette
Yeah.
that we get
Yeah,
here.
similar palette, similar vibe.
Yes.
Obviously, the vibe all starts from the line art, and that's him in both cases.
Yeah.
Obviously, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive into this. You had sent me a link for a DC Beyond the Panels that he recorded on this book.
Right.
I'm gonna put that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I wasn't sure if you were going to play that because it is technically on the
because it was a little over
channel.
5 minutes. I was like, oh, that might be a little much.
It might be a risk to play it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm putting the link to it in the chat. I also put the link in the description if you want to check out that video. It was pretty cool. Like I did.
It is
enjoy
cool.
it.
Quick 5 minutes, like especially if you've already read it and you're like fresh off reading it, it's a cool video to watch.
Yeah, it was a nice little breakdown of his thought process and what kind of went into the book for him.
Yeah.
So basically, we've established this is an Elseworlds tale, and basically the setup here is Catwoman, Selina, is getting out of jail.
Right. Dystopian future version of Gotham, in a way where 10 years ago there was an event, right, called Fool's Night. Not an event, a terrorist attack essentially is kind of what you would look at
basically,
it like.
another one of Joker's things, but this one ended with the death of Batman, Commissioner Gordon, and the Joker. Right.
Commissioner Gordon, Batman, I think even like Nightwing died.
They never really obviously like Nightwing and Robin are not there when
were they at the graves when she visited
when she gets out of jail.
They're dead when she gets out of jail. But
so we never see exactly whether they died that night or if something else happened. Like we don't get that information here. Like that is
okay. For some reason, I just like computed it into my head and just was like, okay, they must have died that same thing. But I mean, I don't know.
They kind of give you that impression because they say like there's been no superheroes basically since that night and everything. And you see, because we do see Barbara in this book who did survive. Yeah. You kind of get the impression that they all died that night, but that you never actually get an explanation of exactly what happened to Nightwing or Robin. So, but yeah, so 10 years ago, the Joker.
I'm going to change my background to the issue 1 cover while we talk about that. Yeah,
which is on the hardcover here as well. And then the inside just inside the dust jacket, you get this nice.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's one of my favorite shots in the whole.
Yeah, of her walking down the street.
Was that a splash on the inside or an interior?
It is like I think it's like the splash. It's the splash like on. They also use it at the beginning of the first issue, but I think it's a splash page somewhere in the first issue.
Yeah, I think it's in the issue itself somewhere, but you don't need to find it. Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's in there.
But yeah, she was. She basically took the fall for the murder or involvement in Fool's Night in general, but more specifically, I think the murder of Batman, right?
Basically, like the Joker does it. The cops come. They like basically start shooting at her. They try to break into the roof, even as Batman is dying, and they set off a bomb that the Joker had planted that kills a bunch of cops. It finishes off Batman at that point, almost kills her, and they end up she takes the fall for all of them.
Did Gordon die in that explosion, or
Gordon died in the explosion that injured Bruce?
That's right.
And killed the Joker. That's right. The initial one. So we see all of this through flashbacks as we go through because we don't know this at the beginning. We're seeing this all
right. Issue 1 only gives you like a glimpse of what happened in that she was arrested and kind of takes the fall for Batman's murder. And she's what, 55 approximately when she gets out?
She's in her 50s when she comes out, like 54, 55, something like that. Yeah.
So it's very much in the spirit of, Dark Knight Returns, old man Batman. This is the old man, old woman
Catwoman.
That sounds really not great to say. Like
it does not.
But I mean that, if you want to do the TLDR version of what this is and the one sentence pitch to somebody who's never heard of it and wants to check it out, it's Dark Knight Returns Catwoman edition. But don't expect that kind of stakes. I guess it's. I would say it's a very still self-contained,
Very
you
much.
know, to her experience, and then the characters that assemble around her that
Yeah.
still exist in this timeline, of which there are many of the rogues that still exist and they're really fun versions of in this
Yes.
book. Killer Croc, especially.
Killer Croc is a standout
Yeah.
in this book.
Killer
for
Croc,
sure.
especially, but also Riddler. And also, I wish there was a little bit more of the Penguin. Like, I liked that little glimpse that we get.
Yeah,
of
we
him
don't get much of the Penguin. We get a little bit.
Yeah, we get a little bit, but we don't get much. But
Yeah.
they're all around and older, older seasoned versions of themselves with, other things that happened in their lives that aren't part of main continuity, obviously.
Yes.
We
get to see later in the series, we get to see
Poison Ivy too.
in.
Also was great in it.
Yeah, she's awesome. But yeah, Selina comes back to Gotham that is actually safe. Like, there's been no costumes, no criminals.
We failed to mention Harvey Dent is the mayor.
Yes,
right?
That's where I was going next.
Tully is the commissioner, right?
Yeah.
And they have this whole like force of bat cops, right?
Yeah, basically, it's people are safe, but Gotham has basically become a police state. Like, it's, check your papers. You got to have a wristband that says who you are, and they can scan your information. And they're basically, as we come to find through the story, is they're using an old Batmobile,
right,
to tap into the cave's computer because they can't get in. Like, all the security for the cave.
Anyone watching this on Rewind, this is a total spoiler open type show.
Yeah. We always do spoilers on these. I guess I should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
But so they're using Bruce's algorithm to basically create a police state that they can kind of control everybody. And Harvey's the reformed mayor that's just trying to keep everyone safe, but really he's lining his pockets, and he's still Two-Face is still there, even though he doesn't want people to know.
And he's also fighting to retain control over Gotham via the election that's coming up against Barbara Gordon, who's a city councilwoman at this stage.
Yeah, she's a councilwoman. She's running for mayor, trying to get him out of office because she doesn't like the things that he's doing. So this is the Gotham Selina walks back into, and she's kind of got a quest. We learn as we go through this, as we learn about the end. As Bruce died, he said something to her and gave her something to get something from the cave, and she didn't know. She doesn't know what it is. It's just sort of, he left her with this mission, and she's like, okay.
Right.
So really, her coming back is she's basically,
he literally like authenticates her DNA to some like super technological version of the Batarang, which later like goes into like a notch and like opens the Batcave.
Yeah,
right?
allows her to actually get access to the Batcave.
Yeah,
which nobody else can get. So,
and he says the word Orpheus,
right?
He says the word Orpheus, which becomes like the whodunit mystery, like gotcha, like the twist they're teasing, or the reveal that they're teasing kind of throughout the whole from issue 1 all the way to 4 until it's revealed.
So what did you think of this version of, we'll get to some of the other characters in a minute, but this version of Selina, we see her, she's in her 50s, she's clearly not moving like she used to, she's trying to figure out what she's capable of this point. She's still sort of obsessed with Bruce in terms of trying to figure out what's going on. What do you think of this version of Selina here that we meet?
I really like this version of Selina, but it's tough to imagine it being like the continuity version of this character at this age, right?
Right.
I think it only really works under the scenario that's presented of something really fucked up went down 10 years ago. She took the fall, was kind of put away, and she essentially broke down and stopped fighting it at some point.
Yeah.
After her incarceration. And she doesn't know it, but it was all part of a scheme that she was released, right? All part of Harvey Dent's and Tully's agenda.
Because they know she's going to go back to thieving,
right?
And they want to have a capture. They want to have something.
But she's had enough time to like mourn her old life ending, kind of in a way, right?
Yeah.
To the point where like she's grateful enough to be out of prison and at least kind of rediscovering some things to attach roots to. It's like she's relearning how to be both herself and Catwoman, which I think is a great angle. And I think the way that he wrote her throughout is very, I mean, it reflects that really well. I think I really like her humorous nature in this. I really like how she lets her guard down in her relationship with Riddler in this.
Yeah.
You know, because Batman's not a thing, right? It's not a thing that she has to worry about anymore. It's like,
no.
So she can,
Bruce is gone.
If she's feeling that kind of deep emotional support with somebody else from her life, and in this case, the way that Cliff wrote and did Edward Nygma is great too. Yeah. And him having a daughter, of which, you know, she ends up, I guess, kind of training her at the end to be the next Catwoman, you know, in theory, right? Like if you were to hypothetically say there were going to be more stories in this version of Gotham. I really liked it. What I wish I could have gotten more of was the 10 years ago flashback version of her in her quote unquote prime in Cliff's version of the character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, because you get those little glimpses mainly just to fill in the gaps of what happened 10 years ago on Fool's Night. But it's not like we're getting an actual Batman and Catwoman. You get glimpses, right? But
I mean, it's really just he's giving you just enough to know why she's doing what she's doing, and you don't really see her. Like, you get the glimpses enough to know that by this point she's basically, which is kind of where she's at for the most part in the comics nowadays anyway, which is that she's teaming when he needs her. She comes when asked to team up and help them with big situations. That she's mostly on the side of angels at this point, even though she was still a thief.
There are a lot of heists. There's 4 issues and there's like 6 heists in this thing.
Oh yeah, I mean she's she's stealing stuff right and left here. I mean,
like the whole overall mission hangs on doing a heist to get into the Batcave. But they have to do like 5 other heists to like get all the right ingredients into place to even do that final heist, right? Which it's kind of fun, but maybe like it was a little overkill. But it's Catwoman, and it's a merry band of like misfits in a way, right?
Yeah. So she gets out and like she has to get the Batarang back. So she has to steal the Batarang from
because it was in police evidence and the new GCPD.
And then she's got to get all this other stuff so she can actually get into the Batcave. And
what else did they do? They went to Acme Chemical or whatever. They had to
steal a fertilizer thing for poison ivy. So she could like sabotage their because it would have hurt nature. And it was actually a negative thing. Right. And
so there was that. They
tried to steal a Green Lantern ring from Star Labs. That
Well, that was Star Labs. Wasn't there a museum with like Dr. Fate's helmet for?
Yeah, they to get
Etrigan for Jason Blood.
Jason Blood to help them. They steal Dr. Fate. Riddler realizes where Dr. Fate's helmet is, so they had to do a heist into Arkham to get a piece of Clayface, so that they steal a piece of Clayface. Yeah, there's
Jason Blood could change his facial appearance to be that of Commissioner Tully.
Yeah, so they could impersonate someone. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on here. It is
so many little mini missions to get them ready for that final mission. So that was
cool. And a lot of it is also getting her back into shape to actually be able to do any of this. Like, because she is
her and Clayface are like working out. I'm not Clayface, Killer Croc.
Her and Killer Croc. Because we see Killer. So let's go there. What do you think of this version of Killer Croc? Like,
I love this version of Killer Croc. It's how I see myself at like 55, 60 years old. Like, with a fucking tracksuit on and a hat. Like, big belt. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I love this.
I mean, he's out of shape, and he's the old guy reliving his glory days to a certain, or trying to. I mean, when we first see the first panel here, this first panel is just
right. He's got nowhere to live basically, and he's kind of just like hanging out,
Yeah, he can't get work. He doesn't really have a place to stay. So Selena takes him in, and
it's a lovely relationship between them.
Yes,
which sadly becomes like one of the saddest and emotional like sections of the book later on when
there's a lot of
we lose the
collateral
character.
damage in this book.
Yeah.
What did you think of like that? He doesn't pull any punches. Like there's a lot of people that don't walk away from this particular story.
And I mean, and in his case, he was like, I need to go out my way. They can't take me in. You gotta, I'm stuck. My legs are broken. I can't move. You got to escape now, and you got to pull the trigger on me before you do. I mean, that's hardcore. I mean, that's
he has deep. To like finish him off to a certain degree, and it's a rough moment.
It's pretty tough, but it's Elseworld, so like I'm kind of going into it like with a little bit of a buffer of my like getting too much hopes up for characters in a way, if that makes sense. You know? Like I have when I'm reading stuff that's like in overall continuity versus Elseworlds or Black Label or whatever the hell it is. I have slightly less of a like.
You don't have as much of attachment to the characters.
Yeah, well, not attachment. It's just I don't have an expectation one way or the other.
Like you're not. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not the same as if something happens. Well, part of which is
I quickly got attached to this version of Killer Croc, and they quickly took him away. Yeah, but not quickly, but over a few issues. Anyway, but yeah.
So
and same thing with Ivy. Like she sacrifices in the fourth issue.
I love this version of Ivy. I'm glad you brought her
Me too,
up.
man.
I love this version of Ivy. When we meet her,
older, thicker Ivy. Like let me meet a girl like that, please.
Yeah. So they steal the fertilizer for Ivy, and we don't know what exactly they're doing. And they travel to where she's staying, and the scene where like let me get back to.
They're in like Brazil, I think, right?
Yeah, she's in like Argentina or Brazil. I forget which one it is.
It's one of those.
And her reaction when they come up, like when we first see her, like she can sometimes be like, just like this version of Ivy. And they're like giving her a hug and like this is an Ivy that is much more comfortable with who she is than we've ever seen her in a lot of ways.
Oh,
like. The anger is mostly gone in this.
It's a pretty happy Poison Ivy.
Yeah, this is a person that's like found her place finally, and to a certain degree. And so, I really love this version.
And same with Riddler. Like Riddler like comes off as like a normal older gentleman. Like he doesn't really like there are. He still like builds in riddles, like when he like leaves his phone number with Selena, like the last number is a question mark. Like he still figured out like how to get into the Batcave through the mansion because of a riddle that Bruce essentially left for anybody to solve, right? Should they get access by inputting like the time of his parents' death.
Yeah, he figures out how the clock works and everything.
Yeah, so he comes in to save the day at the end of the day for Selena.
Yeah, he does.
But I like several of these older versions of these rogues characters in particular are like my favorite part of this book.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. I mean, there's a great scene where they have dinner together.
Oh yeah.
And we jump through time of the evening, and they're telling old stories and and when you hear him talk about like who he was back then, he's like, "Well, I was doing a lot of coke back then," when she makes fun of him.
Could you do that? Like, can you even do that in mainline continuity DC Comics? You can't even say that. Yeah.
He's like, he's like, I was on the. Because she makes fun of his old costume, like with the question marks and stuff. And he's like, I was doing a lot of coke, But then he talks about that he's clean and everything else, and and he's raising this daughter, and it's really a guy that
the daughter is Edie, right?
Edie, yes.
Yeah, Edie.
So Riddler is a very cool. I would say there's some really just great versions of these characters that are very comfortable with who they've become. Have moved past,
and Harvey Dent, he fits right into that role already. The one he has in this, we've kind of seen versions of that in both movies and comics, like that. That version of a all-consuming, powerful Mayor Dent.
Harvey is clearly, as we see him through here, he's still up to no good, but he's clearly back in complete control.
Exactly, and if this book has any main boss, primary antagonist, he's in that role in this.
Yeah, he's clearly the villain of the book.
I agree. Yeah.
Let's see. What else? Like anything else you want to specifically touch on here with him, or any other of the characters that we get?
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm not sure if we're like jumping to specific story points or not. But I'm going to change my background. Every
we could totally jump to start
to showcase the covers. I think this is the
kind of
second
been touching some story points as we've went through the characters and stuff, but
right.
But yeah, we can jump to anything, any story points you want to jump to here.
Well, we don't need to do play by play, but there's a couple things like throughout the book that I think. I mean, well, why don't you chime in with that? Like, what were some of your like favorite or memorable story moments or plot points?
For me, a lot of it is just a lot of the conversations and interactions that she has. The conversation when she goes and talks to the penguin, and the conversation her and Edward.
It was amazing. By Penguin's on like some offshore casino or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
he's basically moved the iceberg grounds to international waters so he can get away with whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, that was funny.
And Selena says, and now most of it's even legal.
And so he made sure that the building that she owned, where she has the penthouse on the top floor, remained intact.
Yeah.
So that she can move back in there, even though like all the tenants are long gone from a hurricane that hit Gotham.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they like never were paying her consistent rent anyway, and this was all before she went to jail for 10 years, right, or prison.
And basically, but all her other assets basically got frozen and took, and he's like, oh,
right,
well,
and he's like, sorry, I just can't float you a loan right now.
You're not a good bet.
Yeah, you're not a good bet. But we do need some more hostesses around here in the casino. So if you dig out that outfit, you know which outfit I'm talking about.
We do get some fun references to her previous outfits through here. Like,
yeah, very fun. I love those little one single panel shots, like flashback shots.
I mean, we get him referring to the outfits. We get the conversation between her and Riddler. We're talking about what they wore and stuff. But then we also get like some of the younger people going, I had your poster, and she's like, "Oh yeah, which one?" And you hear which costume the teenage boy had versus the teenage girl had when she was, And
so, okay, I think we've been doing a love fest so far.
Yeah.
So I'm going to chime in with a couple things, and some of them are story point related.
Okay.
A couple things that, especially on the second read through, that I like noticeably, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
I butted heads with a little bit, not a lot. Like I said, when I was first reading it, it was too disjointed and there was too much time between issues. With this, essentially, you can, reading it in trade paperback format or digitally on a tablet, which is how I reread it for this show. It's a binge read situation that you could literally bang it out.
Yeah, it was one setting.
Yeah, it's a one sit read in a trade paperback or whatever, however format you have it. If you have it all in front of you, you can read it. Within 2 hours, want to say, something like that. So one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit was the whole situation around the open sesame password. Like it, so in that sequence where it's Catwoman, Ivy, and Jason Blood, right?
Yes, Etrigan,
yeah. When they're approaching the entrance to the Batcave, and they're trying to do some sort of voice authentication type password situation at some point. I forget which point in the heist that is.
So they're basically, they've entered the Batmobile access tunnel.
The Batmobile access point, but not the actual.
They went into, and they've gotten to where the wall is that like closes off, and there's a spell of some sort. There's magic that's keeping them from getting to it. Like
yes,
it keeps getting
there's
some
away. Sort of charm or thing that he has to reverse engineer. But I just thought it was a little hokey / like lazy in a way to have the whole thing be like open sesame backwards was the I think that was the solution. If I
Well, yeah. So we get a they're doing, and she's like that. It's like why it's open sesame. I don't know, but basically she's trying to figure it out, and she's like or they're trying to figure out the magic, and he's like without the can. Yeah, she's like try something like open sesame, and he says that it doesn't work, and she's like wait. The fact that I wish the saying was something that was more bat specific,
right?
But the backwards touch was nice because we get this nice little panel of Zatanna filling the spell break.
Yeah. The backwards touch was nice because of the Zatanna connection to it.
Like it was her spell that closed it, right. But it's like.
But the word itself,
open sesame was kind of dumb. It should have been something specific.
Yeah, it's a minor nitpick that I didn't even notice the first time, but when I was reading it so like binge style, I was like, that's a little disappointing. You know,
I didn't really think about that. You said something. I was like, yeah, I get that. That is kind of like
that's more minor. I think the more major is the fact that the whole Orpheus.
Okay, yeah, that's
the whole Orpheus thing, which is teased from like the most important moments of the flashbacks when Batman is dying and whispering stuff into Catwoman's ear. Like that's one of the things. And then that's the mystery that they're trying to kind of solve this whole time. The reason they're trying to break into the Batcave, you know, get to the bottom what Orpheus is. Barbara Gordon's like, I don't know, my father was working on it, but it was something between him and Bruce, and like I was never brought in on it, you know. So they really hyped it up, right? And by the time they reveal what it is, and you know, spoiler, it's some sort of like hybrid of a Lazarus pit and a Bane's venom or something to like that Bruce used to bring Alfred back from like the dead essentially for a week before he actually
doesn't last very long.
But it doesn't last very long, and I think it was some sort of foolproof plan to bring Batman back in the future down the line to fight crime for however long it might bring him back for or whatever. I don't know, but it was kind of like, that's it. Okay. Or that's cool. But there was, you know, it didn't really go anywhere else. You know, you didn't get any insights about it moving forward.
Well, for me, it works because Selena has like sort of obsessed over this. Like, what did he want me to find? What did he want me to?
I think it works for her character arc, and in resolving that she would never want to use something like that to like.
Well, it's not the never use it. For me, that's not what the point was. The point was she realizes at this point that like whatever Bruce cared about her was always secondary to being the Bat. So like this thing that he reveals to her as he's dying is a way that he can keep being the Bat, and she thought it was something for her, and it wasn't. It was.
That's true. I didn't really think about that. Yeah, actually,
it was just him trying to like carry on his mission, and so it's. But she's done all this.
Yeah, because
sacrifice these people that
because about. you do get a flashback of like intense like moments of between them in the past where it gets sort of romantic, but not really, like not. You know, not to the degree that she's getting romantic with Riddler in the present time.
Right.
You know,
but I mean, she's thinking about this. This is the person I thought that, like, when the day came that we would spend our life together, like when we both decided to hang it up, and then the reveal is that he was never going to hang it up. Like it was never, it was never going to. That's the ultimate reveal here, and she sacrifices. Croc doesn't make it. Well, Ivy
doesn't make it.
Well, Ivy probably is going to make
from a story standpoint, she didn't make it, but she probably will emerge somewhere.
Yeah, she even says that. Like, there's even a line where she talks about, I'm perennial, but like she comes, like she's going to be back. But
it's all part of the green, and then she'll be back. Yeah.
But like she sacrifices all this stuff to find, and it was just this thing for Bruce, like drag my body here so I can keep being Batman for a couple more days. It's like. You know, but through the course of this, she has changed Gotham again. Like,
right.
Because she's basically revealed the truth about Harvey. And unintentionally.
And that's the part of it that I love is like the political change, like through this whole like series of heists, making friends and reconnecting with people from her past, and even having like new people like Edie, Winston, and these like these like new sidekicks, and then old friends, right?
Yeah.
That the landscape of Gotham itself has changed. Harvey Dent's like on the body cam footage murdering a cop, right? Like at the end. So yeah,
he's so two-faced.
yeah, exactly. So and then you have all those like protesters wearing the cat masks.
It inspires all these people to like stand up to what's going on.
And I love Barbara Gordon becoming mayor. Like that's awesome. That's great resolution of her character journey as well. Have they ever done that with her in any other stories off the top of my head?
I mean, I've seen other ones where she becomes like commissioner and stuff in the future.
Yeah, I've seen commissioner, but not mayor, right?
But not mayor that I know of. And we get this great scene like at the end of her and Barbara, and like, and Barbara like, hey, there's still other good things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, the last 3 pages of the book, in my opinion, are like, zero action but perfect dialogue and character interaction. Like it's just incredible. Like you have Catwoman and Barbara Gordon in the Batman and Jim Gordon, rooftop scenario, like the scenario of that. It's just the two of them, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's the two of them, and it's really like. And it starts with Selena in a place post discovering that what she was going after was nothing. Like what she was trying to find was nothing. And like a little bit lost, and Barbara going, yeah, but through you can make a difference still. And like, getting her to realize that she can still make a difference, and that she can still and getting her to kind of embrace it going forward. And so it was really well done. I love that. I love the way it closes. For me, the best part of this book is the heists are fun, but some of these conversation scenes are just so well written.
That's why I was kind of saying like there was like 5 or 6 mini heists before you get missions to put various pieces together, get various items and objects before you get to the climactic heist of the Batcave. And if you're working with unlimited number of pages and issues, fucking go for it. I would have loved even more of those dialogue scenes, and like maybe one less of those heist scenes. That because each of those heist scenes like play out over like 10 pages. I want to say, 8 to 10 pages, and each of those dialogue scenes probably play out, those quieter between two character moments,
3 or 4,
2 to 4, right? And you get more of those, which is great, but there's less of it, as far as number of pages. So it's a minor,
I agree with you. The highlight of the book
things
is the conversations, because we get some great ones. We talked about a few. There's one in the middle where she catches up with Leslie Tompkins. There's like a bunch of these as Selena's reconnecting with people in Gotham. There's even a couple of decent ones between her and Harvey, just seeing as they banter back and forth on the things. But I enjoyed the heist. I think the heist kept the book moving. Maybe there was a little more of that. I would have just liked a little more, period.
I would have liked, I mean, that's a good complaint to have, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was more, that's kind of my ultimate takeaway here. I wish there was more in between the 10 years in this version of Gotham, or even more from literally 10 years, 15 years ago from this version of Gotham, and then more in the 5 years from now version of this version of Gotham. I don't think it's ever going to happen, because it wasn't the type of project that they were giving to Cliff and putting out for the reasons of like mass sales, or like, I don't know. Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
I didn't look up, like, was it nominated for like Eisners and stuff like that? It must have been. It must have been. I don't recall if it got that. It did get a lot of critical praise, though, from like Atomic Book.
I don't know that. I don't think it won, but I think it got nominated.
Yeah, I don't think it won, but it definitely must have gotten nominated at one would say.
But
even if it didn't, it was one of the higher reviewed books of that 2022 year.
Of that year, for sure.
Yeah, it was. So.
And I would say, I will say, for me, the one, not really cameo, but the one character that we met that we reused that I didn't find, I felt was sort of superfluous, not really necessary, was the whole Etrigan thing with the Jason Blood.
Yeah, I'll agree with you, to be honest. Yeah.
And Clarion showing up, and it was just
Clarion was a little weird.
Do we really need this? I don't know. It was, other than to make Eddie jealous, like Jason Blood making Eddie jealous, because he flirted with Selena. But otherwise, it was, I don't know. For me, that was I don't know if this is. I guess they needed Etrigan because they needed somebody with magic to counter the Zatanna spell. I
would have preferred that Zatanna was still around and older, and you bring her right in and undo what she did in the first place.
I mean,
better, but
that was the one that it just didn't. It didn't feel. It felt odd. Like his inclusion felt odd to me.
I agree.
Totally.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have preferred having less of that, more Penguin.
Yeah.
And literally Zatanna somewhere besides just that, quick moment.
Yeah, I want to see this version of Zatanna. Come on.
That's what I mean. Have her be in the present timeline somewhere instead of meanwhile in Las Vegas or whatever they did. Right?
Yeah, even if she didn't, even if as they were trying to get in, they come across a spell and she realizes that someone's trying to mess with the spell and she just shows up and it's like, oh, it's you guys.
Yeah. Even if it's in that post, wrap up phase.
Or she shows up after the fact to figure out who went in, who broke her spell. So I don't know. That would have been
that would have been cool, but not important to the ultimate.
No, not really. That's just
story or whatever. But yeah.
So thoughts on this is where this fits for you in terms of a Batman or a Catwoman story. Or
I don't really put it on the Batman list. I would say
right.
And there's how many Catwoman mainline runs have there been, and how many standalone Elseworlds have there been? Not a ton. Yeah, so it's up there. I can't say I've read every Catwoman run, but I think I've read the majority of it.
Yeah.
And so it's in my top 2, I would say.
Just straight Catwoman.
Yeah, straight Catwoman.
About, when we get these kind of stories with other Bat characters, if you avoid the Batman comparison, but you get other Bat characters, how does this fit for you?
The Darwin Cook one is good just because his art is so good and it's just so captivating. But I think this is better writing. This is better storytelling.
I would agree with that. That was Selena's big score. We did that one.
Selena's big score, yeah. Which was part of the whole Batman ego thing.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Did we do Selena's big score or just Batman ego?
I thought we talked about both of them as part of that.
I thought we talked about both. Yeah, I thought we did, but who knows?
No.
But yeah, I mean, as far as Catwoman Elseworlds, it's the best to me.
Yeah.
And I think the general, reviews and feedback out there on the book is overwhelmingly positive. I think there's a tiny subset of people that hate on this book for whatever reason, but it's not very loud or large. So
yeah, I think it's ultimately a relatively small story in terms of state, like you talked about earlier, stakes and that kind of stuff. But I think it works really well. I think it works for Selena. I do believe this is a very specific version of Selena, like you talked about. A lot of them, without the specific way things go down, I don't know that she ends up kind of in this place. I love the Cliff Chang art. I'm a huge fan of
I mean, you could tell that Cliff just put everything into this.
And I forgot, on the inside of the trade dress, there's a couple of panels that are in the book that I just love. When she has the Green Lantern ring on the roof, and just her Cliff Chang does a great job with his art.
He built in his art rep into this book. Felix also in that whole sneaker scene. the guy that was waiting outside that she said hi to on the way in, Lambo, that's one of the guys that works with Felix.
Okay.
So he like built in these kind of hidden jokes of like his art rep friends and crew, you know, that work with him on selling his original art and stuff as part of that sequence of characters, which is a fun little Easter egg. I can tell you for sure that I emailed Felix before this book started coming out. Like, what situation is Cliff going to hang on the art for this? Like, is it ever going to be, you know, are you going to put up pages individually, or, you know, are you open to people buying complete issues? And he said, right now, Cliff wants to keep the art. This was like before the book even came out.
Yeah.
But it was getting a lot of like buzz, like, oh, this book's going to be big, important, you know, whatever. And like the previews of it looked great. The art looked great. And I was like, oh man, you know, because I was already accustomed to buying Paper Girl's art because I like it so much and like his work in it. And he was like, yeah, Cliff's going to hang on to the art. If he ever does, I think it would most likely be selling complete, and it would be a lot of money. And every single one of these pages is like double size, like oversized.
Well, yeah, because because this is like a big trade, like compared to just a comic. Like this trade is like huge.
Yeah, and the individual magazines.
And it's the same size as the individual issue.
Yeah, individual magazine size, and he did the art larger as well, right?
Yeah.
Proportionally.
Well, because it's not like it's larger because these pages are wider,
right? And
like the proportions don't match your typical comic book page.
Yeah, but like, you know, a typical comic book is what, 8.5 by 11, like the size of a piece of paper. Your typical standard comic art size for that book is still 11 by 17, which is a lot larger than
but my point is, like, it's also all of these pages are like, it's more like it would be more like a 14 by 17 the way the pages are laid out.
Absolutely, and I think it's even larger in the art.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
probably is.
Like, I don't know, I don't remember if he gave me the exact size, but it's massive. Like the canvas he worked on for the artwork. So yeah, I'll never be seeing those pages in any of my art
collection. Like somebody very rich is going to own these pages at some point.
But that's another reason to check out that video that you dropped in the description, because they do give you a quick glimpses of like the artwork itself.
Yeah. And I will say the trade has a little bit of like design thoughts on the characters in the back. You get to see some of his
character design stuff. Yeah.
Design stuff. Some of Selena's, like you see him going through like how he was what haircut he was gonna give her, and like just costume thoughts. And so he does have some of that in the back of the trade.
Thank you, Ken Bird, also, by the way, for popping in, and Unfazed from Pakistan.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Done a good job with the chat tonight. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I do believe that Cliff is. And
it does have like some notes on some pages and stuff. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, he gives you some of that in the trade.
I look forward to, you know, future Cliff Chang, you know, I guess, you know, creatively helmed projects, if that makes any sense. Like, it would be a little disappointing to see him do like this and then not follow it up with another thing that he writes, arts, colors. Yeah,
I would love to see like
where he's doing everything, but that's a lot to ask of him also. So I wouldn't be surprised also if, you know, he stuck to the like artist only stuff for a while, covers and or whatever. Like off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what he's done, what's come out in the last like year or two that he's done.
Don't either. No.
Yeah, so I would have to look that up.
There's been no projects that stood out to me as like, oh, that's a Cliff Chang project.
Because this must have taken him like 2 years to actually execute, I want to say.
Probably
and then it took a year plus for all 4 issues to come out.
Yeah.
You know, so he must have, you know, obviously by 2023 this was all out. So probably he was probably done doing it sometime in 2022, and you know, the last issue probably held up the you know, the release 6 months or whatever. I highly doubt they planned a 3-month, 4-month, 6-month. That's just such a random interval. Yeah. Such a random interview.
Well, I would guess because it was like 3 months even to the second issue, so I'm sure they probably knew it was going to not be a month to month, but probably didn't plan for it being basically a little over a year to get them all out. So.
Yeah, it took a year essentially.
Yeah.
Is that the only collected edition that's come out? And
as far as I know, like in terms of a hardcover, this is the only one that's come out.
Yeah,
and it's got the regular A cover to issue 1 on the front, and then it's got like her leaping over a car on the back.
Cool. Well, I think that's it for this one. I mean, we probably need to have a separate ranking for like character only. That isn't really a Batman book,
Yeah, we haven't really. It's been so long since some of these like our rankings and stuff. I look back at the little rankings list, and I would put this like, is this like one of my? If I'm really being like all Batman or even just side characters, if it's all Batman, it's probably not, near the very top. But
if it's all Batman, it's not on my top 10. If it's just Elseworlds, it might be.
I think
Catwoman specifically, it's like my top 2, if not 1. So
no, I think that's a fair way to put it. Is in terms of Catwoman focused stories, it's way up there for me. Like there's a few arcs in her books that are probably in the same territory, but it's right at the top. Like I read that whole Brubaker Darwin Cook run, and I've read a bunch of the 90s stuff, and it's as good as anything that's come out in her regular issues for sure.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't rate as a top 10 like overall Batman story, but it's really good. It's one I really enjoy.
It's unfair to say it's true, but it's unfair to say that because like Batman isn't in it except for in like 5 flashback panels. You know, like so.
Yeah, we get a few pages of him, and he's kind of as we find out at the end, he was kind of being a jerk even at the end.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, if you really think about it, he always has been, and he always will be. So.
Yeah. Yes.
Like whether it's this Elseworlds or main continuity or Miller's stuff, like it doesn't matter which version. It's like
he's kind of he's for sure sort of trying to take advantage of her there in that last moment, but. I
think we should end by debating what we possibly read next, and then we can figure out the schedule later. But I want to keep the momentum of reading going because I've been reading a lot, even though I haven't been doing YouTube. I've been reading a ton of comics over the last couple of years, and but I fell off Batman, and I have been hearing a lot of good things about Batman Dark Patterns.
I have not read that.
I have not read it. I think
it's still coming out, though.
It's still coming out, and there's I think it's on issue 9 or 10 of 12 so far. Okay. So I don't know when the trade is. Probably a little too far out for the next episode. It would be the episode after the next. So maybe one other book suggestion in between, and then we can get to Dark Patterns.
I have really enjoyed. I don't know the Batman and Robin Year 1 that's been coming out. That the final issue comes out, I think, here in the next couple of weeks. That's been really good. So
there'll be a trade in like a month,
which means there should be a trade here fairly soon. That's been great. I want to talk about that with you at some point once we get there. They did a similar kind of thing. What was it? Did I have the single issues of that? There is a trade out. There's a Robin and Batman that's got Dustin Nguyen on the art from a couple of years ago. That I have the individual issues. I don't have that trade.
How many issues is the run?
3 or 4.
Oh, okay, that's nothing.
Let me see. I can pull that up real quick. That was really good. That's something that's been read recently. But then there's also there's some trades over there. Things that I had that we didn't talk about. There's like the original Batman and Robin run where Dick Grayson is Batman and Damian is Robin when Bruce is out of the picture. That's one I've been wanting to read for a while.
Not sure if I read that or not. What is there a subtitle for that run? Like in the collected format?
I can grab it real quick.
Okay.
It's Grant Morrison. Frank
okay.
Quietly.
I've read it. Yeah, I've read that. Yeah.
Yeah, that
I'd
one.
love to reread it. Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be one that we could do, and then let me find that it's Robin and Batman, I believe. Robin and Batman. It's just 3 issues. It is. Let's see. It's Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely down for both of those. Yeah.
So. Yeah.
All right. So you tell me which. Well, you said that one's not collected yet, or it is.
I think it is. I don't have. It is collected. I never bought the trade. I have the individual issues.
Okay. Well, if it's collected, I can check if my library has it, and if they don't,
yeah, I would say either that one or this one would be where I would say we go next.
I'm willing to do both. It's just a matter of when we do it, and maybe we can do the whole broadcast on both of our channels from the same video link. Figure that out. I know it exists now on YouTube. I just
I've never done it.
I've never done it. I don't know how to do it, but
we will definitely make that work going forward. So
yeah, that'd be cool. All right.
Awesome.
So you tell me which of those 2 you want to go with first, and then.
Well, I've never read this.
Okay, so let's go with that. Batman and Robin, Grant Morrison.
Okay, let's do that, and then you can see about how you can get that other one, because you have this one.
I might have that one digitally.
Okay,
but if I don't, my library will have it most likely.
Yeah.
Both potentially physically and digitally.
Okay.
So they have a lot of comics and trades there. So. And if neither of those 2 options work, I'll buy the trade digitally on my tablet. If neither of those 2 options.
We'll do this one first, then we'll do the 3-issue one, because you haven't had a chance to read that, and then we'll see where that Dark Patterns is in terms of being able to get a trade and the.
Yeah, I don't think Dark Patterns will have a trade until 2026. So
yeah. Well, that gives us a couple of months.
2 episodes. We could do two episodes between now and then. So.
Yeah, for sure. So.
All right. Well, that's good. Anything else you wanted to say to wrap it up? I think keep it to an hour.
So thanks to the folks that hang out with us. We'll see about maybe. For now, I like just the 2 of us, but we may get some other folks involved.
Yeah. We make it. We try that. Is there any? Are there any big Grant Morrison fans that we?
Yeah, I don't know.
That we know. Can't think of off the top of my head.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. So.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We don't have a date yet. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. And quick shout out, since I need to before we go. I haven't done it yet, to my channel members. Big thank you to them for supporting the channel. Cover my StreamYard costs. I appreciate that. And with that, we will see you guys later. See ya.